walked in a little bit later, please take extensive notes. This is the lesson you will be teaching with your partner.
Okay, hello everybody. As Ms. Goldberg said, I'm Omar Gasondo. I'm another science master teacher, and to help them out, I'm going to demonstrate your first lesson on the mystery bag, okay? You can take notes, but I would recommend on paper. If you have a computer, you want to have that a little bit to the side because we are going to be using the desks, okay? And for this, I will pretend that my partner is Ms. Goldberg. So you might hear me say my partner, because you're partnered up, so if I say my partner, I'm talking about Ms. Goldberg, okay? So the very first E that we're going to be talking about is the engage. So for this lesson, you want to follow the engagement that I have. So when you enter the classroom, you want to introduce yourself to the students, and you want to thank the teacher for being there. So this is how you go about. The way you would do that would be, hello students, thank you for having me. My name is Omar Elizondo. I'm from the university. I'm from UTRGV, and I'm part of the UTeach program. And I want to thank so-and-so, thank the teacher, for having us today, and we're going to teach you a pretty interesting lesson, okay? Now, before we begin, moving on to the engagement part, what is this? Does anybody see what this is? Everybody agree they're paper clips? Okay, so what is this? Anybody know? Magnet? Anybody think it's something else? This is a magnet. Yeah, we got some paper clips, we got a magnet. Okay, so my partner, Ms. Goldberg, or her partner, my partner and I were making a bet. And we were betting lunch. You can bet whatever you want. And she says that in this bag of 100 paper clips, she thinks that this magnet will pick up less than 20. I think it's going to be more than 20. Now, we don't have a marker. I would write Miss Goldberg, and I would write less than 20. And I would write Omar Elizondo, more than 20. We're making a bet, okay? And whoever wins, whoever's right, is going to get lunch, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go fishing for paper clips. And we're going to see who wins. So here we go. Y'all ready? So far, what do you think? How many do you think are on this magnet? Take a guess. Cool. 12? 22? Give me some numbers. 16? Give me someone over here. 25. 20? 25? Okay, we're going to find out. So who wants to help me count? Can you put your hand down? Okay, so class, I would like for you to help me count. It's going to be a little bit difficult for the people in the back, so I'm going to make it easy for you to see. And some of them stick to each other. So class, I want to hear you count with me. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We got 6, 7, 8, excuse me, 9, and I have 2 here, 10, 11, 12, and I got 2 more, 13, 14, oh, I got a clump here, I got 3 stuck here, so what do we got? 15, 16, 17, uh-oh, I might win, 18, uh-oh, 19, uh-oh, 20, I got 1 more, that's 21, so who won the bet? I did, I won the bet, so Miss Goldberg owes me lunch for a very expensive meal. Okay, so what I can do is I would reference the board, which I have not written. Mr. Sears went to grab us a marker so you can understand what I'm talking about. And so that's just an engagement. Get the kids counting them so that way they can see the magnets. They can see the magnets, they can see the paper clip, and this is going to lead to what we're doing. There's a point to this. But you just got them counting, count with the students. Let me make a recommendation. When you do this, don't go like this. And then you're going to be stuck counting 75 paper clips, and that gets really dull. So just try to grab a few. You want to just maybe go over the top, like this, real quick. Okay, good. I can count that real quick. I don't want to be here forever counting. It's an engagement. It's about 5 minutes. So that's an FYI. That comes from experience on this lesson. Okay. All right, cool. We made our bet. That's our engagement. It's real simple. You want to practice that. And you can do it with your partner or you can do it with one of the students. All right? Just make sure everybody can see what you're doing. That's the engagement. All right, good. So I'm glad you guys were able to do that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hand out this document right here. So let me get that so we can pass it out to you guys. Now, as a side note, So let me turn off the lesson for a little bit and let me tell you about this document. This is a real easy document to make. It's really simple to use, and we color-coded it on purpose, okay? So first of all, when you're teaching the students, you need to make sure that everybody is on the literal right page. And the right page is number 1 on the corner, and we're going to start with the red side. So I want to make sure that everybody has the red side on top. You're on page number 1. Now right away, standing from my position, I can see who's on the right page, just visually. That's why we color-coded it. Now, you're going to want to show the students exactly what page they need to be on. So everybody should be on number 1. Everybody see number 1 up here? I know I'm pointing it for you, but for elementary students, they're going to need to know specifically where do they need to be. Make sure you're on the red side. There we go, this is better. So we're all going to be working on the red section, okay? Now you're going to make name tags for your students, and so you can randomly call a student for this one. So I'm going to call Kimberly. Kimberly, can you read this yellow sentence here, please?
What are some of the examples of things that are or are not magnetic in the world?
What are some examples of things that are or are not magnetic in the world? I asked a student to do that, and now I went ahead and repeated it so everybody can hear it. So what I want you to do is I want you to work with your partners, and I want you to come up with 5 things that are magnetic and 5 things that are not. So let me show you. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 things that are magnetic, and I want 5 things that are not magnetic. Okay? You can talk about it with the people at your desk, and I'll give you about 4 or 5 minutes to do that. So I actually want you to do this. So go ahead and do that. Okay. Talk with your partner. And try to think like the elementary kids. Try your best.
There's some kind of question you can ask when you hear things from students.
How can you think so you think because one is that's why
You have 4 minutes?
okay, so there's a question. Well, you put nails, why did they make that under the magnetic?
There's no wrong answer.
So something like you did, you got things like that. Part of the teachers in school.
Yeah, that part.
Okay, so you make something you learned. Okay.
You have 3 minutes remaining. 3 minutes. You guys come up. There's no wrong answers in any of this. There's no wrong answers. You're just making a prediction.
So something
Two minutes remaining. 2 minutes remaining. Oh, good. You got 5 for each.
what makes you think that?
This is our lesson. Have you ever so there's time when you maybe the
If your group is done, can you get a thumbs up? If your group has all 10 written down, give me a thumbs up. This group done?
And notice how I was walking around as if I was the co-teacher, and I was asking you at your table why you wrote certain items where you did, and I learned a lot. Some of you were correct, some of you maybe weren't, you'll find out maybe. But I learned a lot, but only because I made it a point to be like, oh, why did you put that there? Why did you write that? So that's a good way to use your time. Don't just walk around and be like, good, they're good, everything's good. Ask them why they put that there.
Okay, so some of you finished very early or very quickly, and some of you still have a little bit more to go. That's why I asked for thumbs up. Let me know if you're done. So let's try it one more time. Let's practice. Give me a thumbs up if you have all 10 written down. Excellent. So I can tell with my eyes where the class is. There might be one group that's almost done, and then you can get a feel for the class. Should I move forward? Should I wait a little bit? But that's a great way to assess the class. All right? Now, at this point, you probably want to have an attention getter. When you go to your observations, you want to ask the teacher, how do you get the attention of the class? Okay? Some people say eyes on me. Some people count down. You got to figure out what works for you, but you probably want to use what the teacher's using, right? So I went ahead and said, I can say guys or whatever, but you want to have something more professional. Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you'll see that. Now, JB over here asked, how much time did I give the students for their engagement? I gave you guys 5 minutes. That's what I said. I don't even know how much time I gave you because I didn't keep track of it. You should keep track of it. The thing with time is that you can kind of manipulate it a little bit. I can give you 5 minutes and I can observe the class and say, hey, everybody's moving pretty quick. So I don't need to take 5 minutes. I can hurry this up. So I can, in a good way, lie to the class and tell them, you have 2 minutes left. That keeps them moving. That keeps them moving, okay? That's a good thing to do. But you can also add time if you need to. If I give you 5 minutes and it literally takes 5 minutes and half the class isn't done, I can check for completion. Half the class is barely done. You know what, guys? I'm going to give you 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. So you can extend time and you can lose time if you need to. But when you make your lesson plan, try to stick with the time you put on your lesson plan, all right? The engagement should be about 5 minutes. Giving them that time to do this activity should be about 5 minutes.
So if you find that some students are just kind of slower and you're like, oh, they only have 2 but everyone else has 5, don't feel bad, you can move on. So don't wait for every single person to get all 10 because you might not have time. We don't want you to have the lesson be cut off at the end. We've seen that in the past where people spend too much time with the kids for the stage, and then they run out of time for the really important parts later. So it's totally fine if you feel like most people are good to go, you can move on, and we'll show you how it won't really matter coming up if you do that.
Okay, so what you've done at this point is you've written 10 possible answers. Some of them you did on yourself, by yourself, but most people did it as a group. Now I want to assess the class. I could say, what did y'all get? And then everyone's going to talk and everyone's going to talk. But elementary kids, when you ask them a question, you're going to get an answer most of the time, probably from 2 or 3 people. So I recommend you use popsicle sticks, okay? Popsicle sticks are a resource we have upstairs in the UTeach workroom. Go and get some, and you want to write the name of your students on it, all right? And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. So here's what we're going to do. Okay, class, you have completed the task of doing the 2 red boxes for magnetic and non-magnetic. I want to know what you wrote down. So where's Anna Garcia? Is Anna Garcia here?
She's not here today.
Anna's absent. I can also do attendance with this, so that works. Let's see here. Daniela Ramirez. What's that? You don't see it? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm too zoomed in. Thank you. Daniela Ramirez. Daniela, what did you write? Give me one example you wrote for magnetic. Metals. Okay, cool. So if you're missing one, that might be one you want to add. How about Michael Guerra? Michael, what'd you write for magnetic? Give me one.
Refrigerator.
A fridge. I'm going to mention a fridge. Excellent. I'm not telling them that they're right or wrong. I'm just getting some answers. Is it Brianna? Everybody's at the one table. Hold on. Let me shake this up. Okay, it's supposed to be random. All right, Emma. Emma, what'd you put for metals? I mean magnetic. Sorry.
For magnetic staples.
Staples, awesome. Like the store or literally the little things? Little ones? Okay, just making sure. Renee. Where's Renee? Renee, what'd you put for magnetic?
We put paper clips
Paper clips. How did you come up with that?
from what you showed us.
You saw it, right? In the engagement. Don't be surprised when they put paper clips. Right? Bobby pins. All right, good. Bobby pins. Is that one word or two? I don't know. I'm gonna put 2 words. Okay, excellent. So if you were missing one for magnetic, maybe steal one of those. Okay. I haven't said that these are right. I haven't said these are wrong. We're just making a brainstorm. Okay, for non-magnetic, Angelica.
Paper.
Paper is non-magnetic. Okay. We'll see. And then Araceli.
Rubber bands.
Rubber bands. We're just going to put our bands. Okay. Mark. Where's Mark? Mark. Glue. Mix it up. Let's see here. Marco Antonio.
Is not
Not
here.
here. Marco's absent. We're taking attendance too. Narazet. Did I say that right? Nazareth. Sorry.
You can call me
A tree.
A tree. Excellent. And we've got, I already called Brianna, right? Right, now you're up. Grass. All right, excellent, good. I'm glad you guys were able to come up with some things that were magnetic and non-magnetic. At this point in the lesson, I haven't taught anything. I've just kind of facilitated the lesson. You guys were discussing at your table, okay? So, remember, this is a really good tool. You don't need to know the students. You can just randomly call them, but also use the name tags, all right? All right, so what we're gonna do now that you've made that prediction, we're gonna move down to the yellow section of our lesson, of our document, okay? So, what we need to do now is pass out black background. Are we doing pairs?
Yes, we have some groups of 3, but
Okay. Make sure.
So, your partner can be the one who will pass out all the materials, and as Mr. Lozano says, he'll say something along the lines of, now my partner, Ms. Goldberg, will pass out the bags. So that way, you don't have to memorize when to pass out the bags, your partner can just let you know. All right, now it's your turn.
So, just like Ms. Goldberg said, I kind of cued her in, my partner Will, or Ms. Goldberg is going to pass this out, and she knows what she has to do. She's passing out the bags. All the material will take, Mr. Sears and Ms. Goldberg will take to the lesson, so you don't got to worry about that, okay? Now, what she's passing out is the black bag. Was there anything on your table already? The plates, there's going to be a reason for that. Sometimes we forget about the plates, there's going to be a reason for that, okay? She's passing that out, and then in a minute, she's also going to pass out this. These are the magnets, okay? The magnets, they're just plain magnets, but you want to go ahead and tell the students to be careful with this. And one of the things you want to do with safety is remind the students of safety. But let it come from them. So class, this is a magnet. What should we not be doing with our magnets when we get them? Throwing them? What else? Bang them on the desk? What else? Don't eat them. Don't put them in your mouth. Please be careful not to drop them either, because sometimes that could mess up the magnets, and we want to use them later on. Okay? All right. So at that point, then we can pass out the magnets, and we can do what we need.
Well, not yet. Not yet, until you tell them what they're doing.
Somebody tell them what they're doing, Mike?
So what happens if I pass out the magnets right now? What is students going to do?
They start playing with them.
Yeah, they're going to start playing with them.
We're going to start our fishing activity.
Yeah, we're done. So Mr. Elizondo is going to give the instructions first, then we'll pass it.
Okay. See, we're working as a team. All right. So what you're gonna get is your black bag, you're gonna get your mag, and actually Ms. Goldberg is right on this, she's 100% correct. Because as soon as you give it to them, they're gonna start doing things with them. So give it to them at the last minute. So your partner really needs to know when the magnets have to be dispersed. Inside of this, there's stuff inside of this. This is the mystery bag. Okay, you can't see inside of the bag. You can hear things. The rules are very simple. I do not want you to ever look inside the bag. So no looking. You can never look inside the bag. Okay? You can never take anything out of the bag unless I tell you to do so. Now these rules you probably want to write down on the board. Okay? So let's start with the first rule.
Okay, your partner can write the rules.
And we really like to exaggerate this idea of like waiting to pass out the magnets, because in the midst of it, it's so easy to get excited and you're like, oh, I gotta pass out, somebody pass it out and get ready, and then they're not gonna listen to what you're about to hear.
Okay. So everybody got those rules? These rules are also on the cheat sheet. Now there's going to be a reason for that, because we don't want the students to know what's in the bag beforehand. Okay? So the rule is, what you're going to do is your partner is going to hold the bag. So Ms. Goldberg, your partner at your table is going to hold the bag. Alright? Now you can't look in the bag, and you're going to go fishing And actually we did this earlier. So you're going to stick this in there, and you're going to go fishing. And whatever sticks to the bag, to the magnet, you can take it out. And we want to place that stuff somewhere. Where do you think we want to place it? On the plate. Everything that comes out of the bag needs to be on the plate. It shouldn't be on the table, it shouldn't be on the floor, and it shouldn't necessarily be in your hands. It needs to be on the foam plate. Okay? And then if there's anything that doesn't come out of the bag, you leave it in the bag. Okay? Alright, so now we can pass out our magnets, and we're going to go fishing. Don't go fishing until I tell you to do so. Right, so you should hold on to it. So what I did there was I gave information to the class ahead of time so that they know what we need to be doing and what they can't do. We talked about the safety of the magnets on your lesson plan. You need to bring up that safety. Now Mr. Sears is passing out the magnets. Everybody knows that you can have them, but don't go fishing just yet.
Now this would be a good time. The students are going to want to touch the magnets. They're going to want to touch the bag. So throughout this lesson, you're going to want to use a little technique called hands on your laps. So everybody, hands on your laps. Hands on your laps. Hands on your laps. Write it down when I was saying instead of taking hands on your laps. So that way, at any point, if they're just going crazy, they're trying to touch everything, what do we say? Hands on your laps.
Okay, so I'm going to let you guys decide. Whoever goes fishing this time is not going to go fishing the next time. All right, so whoever goes fishing this time cannot go fishing the next time. That way you can share with your partner. So one partner grab the black bag. The other partner can grab the magnet. Okay. There's only.
You don't want fish?
Okay, Mr. Sears is passing out the magnets. And what you're going to do is I'm going to let you go fishing, and remember, when you take stuff out, where does it belong? On the plate. Okay, so when you have your magnet and your partner's holding the bag, go ahead and go fishing. Don't look inside the bag. Go ahead and go fishing.
Why would you get shipped?
Yeah, you can try going fishing more than once, so try again.
Oh, okay.
You're supposed to know about it.
I guess we need to. Okay, just give me that.
And we'll be walking around taking photos during your lessons as well. So at your graduation, you can see yourself.
Okay, thumbs up if you're done fishing. Okay, make sure everything is on the foam tray. Whatever you got, whatever came out, go ahead and write it down here. Go ahead and write it down in the yellow box called magnetic. Now I haven't told you the names of these items. We will. Not yet though. I want you to write them down. You can draw them. You can write them down any way you want. Whatever you like. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to do that. You can talk with your partners if necessary.
This? No, it's screw link.
Notice that I just sneakily came around and took away your magnets. Why do you think I did that? Right, otherwise they're going to play with them.
I'll give you about 30 seconds to finish that up.
Finish
Finish making your list. I will give you a clue. There's 4 items. There's 4 of them, so make sure you have 4 on your tray.
And definitely do make sure there are 4 in the tray because we had some bags that had some fallout. So we wanted to make sure that those bags are missing. So it looks like you have 3.
All right, 10 seconds.
Well, there is something else in there that shouldn't come out.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job, class. Thank you. That's another way to get the classroom attention. I like doing that. It works at all grade levels. Just counting down. Remember to let the students know how much time remains. Okay, back to the lesson. You all went fishing. You all got some stuff out. Excellent. Now, there might still be stuff in the bag, but let's talk about what you got out. So, I'm gonna get some names. Carlos, where's Carlos? Carlos, did you get this? Yes. What is it? It's a paper clip. Was it magnetic? Yes. How do we know? It's stuck to the magnet. Excellent. Okay, next person. We're gonna go with Jessica. Jessica. What's this, Jessica? I have no clue.
Is that like a washer?
We're going to call this a washer. We're going to call this a washer. Excellent. Okay, so I'm making my little list here. Stick my stuff out. Okay, let me get another person. And we're going to go with Diana. Is it Diana? Diana's not here? Okay, Diana left. Raymond. Yes. Everyone loves Raymond. Okay. So, what is this, Raymond? Did you get this?
Yeah, I think that's a screw.
This is a bolt.
Bolt.
This is a bolt. B-O-L-T.
What's the difference between a bolt and a screw?
Yeah, so Gabriel, tell us again what the difference is between a bolt and a screw and why that's not a screw.
A screw is pointy.
Right, a screw has a pointed end and bolts have a flat end.
And we also don't want to give elementary kids a screw. And then we're live. All right, one more. Delaney. Did you get this? I always called you Delaney. Did you get this?
Yes.
What is it? Anyone know what this is? We're going to call it a link. L-I-N-K. L-I-N-K. Okay, so these are the 4 things that were magnetic. So what I did was I randomly called students and asked them if they got this. That helps keep students engaged. All right? I went ahead and verified what was magnetic. So if some of the students are like, I didn't get that, maybe they'll go in their bag and check it again, right? Or they just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. Also the vocabulary. We want everyone saying the right terms. And I'm suggesting that these are the terms and these are the terms we're going to use for the class. Link, a bolt, paperclip, and a washer. They usually know these 2. These are the ones that could be off of them. This is why you go through it with them. All right? So these were the magnetic items. They need to stay on your foam tray. Now, what you can do is you can, with your hand, you can go in and take out anything else that's in your bag. So you can go fishing with your hand again. You can go in. See if there's anything else. There should be something else. You got it? Okay. All right, so you went and you got something else. Go ahead and write it down, what you think it is. Where does this belong, class? In what section? Non-magnetic, right? Because you didn't come out with the magnet. Excellent. Now. All right, now, for the sake of UTeach, we have 2 items that are non-magnetic, and you're probably going to have both in your bags. Here they are. Some people got this one. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it a pebble. You can call it a gem. but whatever terminology you use, make sure you explain to the students. I'm going to use gem, okay? Some people got this. What's this? It's a button, right? So not everybody got the same one. And we did that because we ran out of these pebbles, so we needed something else that was not magnetic.
Yeah, and we do recommend you use gem or glass gem, because technically it's not really a pebble, right? So that's why we use gem.
Okay, so at that point, what I need to give you a sidetrack. Mr. Sears brought this up, but this is very important. After the students have gone fishing, pick up the magnets. It's going to lead to problems because they're going to start playing with them. They're going to start using the magnet on their desk, on their head, whatever. So pick up the magnets. As soon as they're done, your partner needs to go and pick them up.
Yeah,
Okay?
and notice that when I picked them up today, just now, I didn't say, oh, I'm going to pick up your magnets, because then they would have been like, no. You just take them away and move on.
Okay, class, what I want you to do now is I want you to get your white tray and I want you to put everything back inside the black bag, and Ms. Goldberg is going to pick up the black bag.
Thank you. Now, pick up the black bag, but do not pick up the trays. The trays they will need for the next activity, so those will stay on the table.
Okay, so while that's being picked up by my partner, I want you, on the very bottom section, you're going to have to write a conclusion. And I want you to write them in complete sentences, because they're elementary students. I want you to write 2 sentences, but they have to be complete sentences. Tell me what you learned. What happened? What did we learn from this little experiment with our paperclip washer bowling, button, or gem? You need 2 sentences. Go ahead and write them down in your conclusion.
And their conclusion should be about things that are and are not magnetic. That's the point of the lesson, is they're trying to figure out what things are and are not magnetic. So their conclusion should be based off those ideas, based off what they observe. Based off what they observe. So not what they already know about magnets, based off what they observe.
And so for this, you might want to give them about 3 to 4 minutes to do so. And you want to go around and make sure they're going to come up with some decent answers.
Now, sometimes you might have a class that really struggles with even writing just a simple sentence. Let's say you have a 3rd grade class, and let's say a lot of them are English language learners, so maybe they're just struggling to write a good complete sentence in English. So one strategy you can use, if that's the case, and you might get a sense of that by observing your class coming up, or maybe you've already gotten a sense of that by talking to your teacher, you can do what's called like a sentence starter. So if you write something that's like, I noticed that blank, or I observed that blank, then that helps to get their thinking going and makes it a little bit easier for them. Or you might not need to do that depending on the kids that you have. And this is a really important time to just walk around and read what they're writing, because you're not going to have time to allow everyone to share. But what they're writing is going to be really important for you to know, especially for the next part coming up.
Okay, so I'm going to give you about 10 seconds. Most of you are finishing up. But remember, you want to keep the students in check. Remind them of how much time remains. All right, 10 seconds, 1 minute, 30 seconds. And then you can count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and wait until you have the class's attention. Okay?
And the paper you're writing on is yours to keep, so feel free to write all over it or add notes to the paper itself if it's easier to write it where the section of the lesson is.
So there's 2 things I want to just take a side note on. There's a reason why I wrote down 1 through 5 here. And there's a reason why I wrote down 1 and 2 here. Because when you do that, you're deliberately telling the students, I want 2 sentences, and ask them to write it down. Here, I'm telling you, I want 5 examples. If not, they might just give you 1. And you're basically demonstrating what you want them to do. So be sure you do that. Okay, so as a side note, here's what we're going to do. We want to get the class's conclusions, but I really don't want to randomly call students on this. I really don't, because I'm looking for specific answers. So I went around, and when I was facilitating the class, I looked at what some people wrote. Now you guys didn't know that, but I wrote some students' names on this, right? But the students are not going to know that. So you can randomly call them out. Just say, Carlos, can you give me one conclusion that you wrote?
I noticed that the magnet only works on the.
Magnets only work on metals. Thank you, Carlos. How about Angela? Can you tell me what you wrote?
Anything, after doing the activity, I found that items made of metal or magnetic, anything that does not attract to the magnet is considered non-metal. Oh, I meant to put non-magnetic.
So basically, I'm going to just summarize it. Metals equal to magnetic, right? And non-metals are non-magnetic. Okay. Now, some of you guys wrote things like the paperclip is magnetic, and that's what you're going to get for some of the students. That's true. That's a fact. That's what we were able to see, right? But there's something I know, and there's something I want to hear from the students. And what I want to hear is that silver things are magnetic, shiny things are magnetic, okay? Hard things are magnetic. And when I went out, I was looking for those answers. So you kind of want to go out there and see what the students are looking
And
for.
to prove that point, just for our purposes, raise your hand right now if you wrote on your own paper just now some version of that, like metals are magnetic, shiny things are magnetic. So notice not everybody wrote that, right? So it doesn't mean that what they wrote is wrong. It just means they might have been more specific in their conclusion, like the paperclip was magnetic or the paperclip stuck to the magnet. But he purposely wanted a more general statement, so that's why he purposely looked to see who wrote a more general statement and called on that person. And notice too that he called on a male student and a female student. We also think that's really important, that you try to be as equal and fair as possible. We don't want just boys being called on or just girls being called on.
Okay, so now that we've done that, we've learned something. We've learned quite a bit. The students got to experiment. The students got to engage in the activity. We got them writing. We got them talking, but we're not done yet. So now you can turn your page to the next page in the back, page 2. And we're going to be working in the green section. The green section, okay? So, Ariana, could you read this yellow sentence for me, please?
What will be magnetic from the plastic bag?
What will be magnetic from the plastic bag? Ms. Goldberg passed out a clear plastic bag. This is not a mystery bag. You know what's inside of it. You can't take anything out. What I want you to do is I want you and your partners to look at what's inside, and I want you to list the items where you think they're going to be. Are they going to be magnetic or non-magnetic? However, there's a few new things to this. We went ahead and added a couple of items. We added a foil ball. We added, what do we add?
So you tell us what are some other things that you noticed that you didn't have before? Okay, so plastic cap,
Soda
ball,
tab.
anything else different?
Soda tab.
We added 3 new things. Thank you for doing that, Mr. Sears. Mr. Sears actually went about it a little bit better because he asked the class, what do you notice differently? What I was doing was I was telling the class, and that's not what we want to do. We want to ask them, what do you notice differently? Okay? So based on that, we have all the original items that we had previously, and we have 3 new items, which I went ahead and wrote down here for you. I want you and your partners to discuss what's going to go in the magnetic section and what's going to go in the non-magnetic section.
One other quick note, a lot of the kids will not know those names that we just wrote on the board. Specifically, we found that a lot of elementary kids don't know that a soda tab is the name for that item. A lot of them will say soda cap, which then is confusing because then you have a plastic cap as well. So make sure if they say, oh, the soda cap, and they've already said plastic cap, then you say, oh, the soda tab, because that word tab seems to be new for a lot of little kids.
And I went ahead and displayed them so everybody knows what I have, and maybe you can even display them and write down right next to it. Okay? But go ahead and think about it. I'm going to give you 4 minutes to do so, and I want you to predict which ones are going to be magnetic and which are going to be non-magnetic. You need to list them all.
The chain. Because that paper clip has
I think that magnet is strong enough. So I'm gonna put the in the magnet. I know. What is
Think like the kids. Think like the kids. They're not teaching college.
But we're not.
Well, you just did it with the other bag. Was that right?
Actually, that means less. Taking my other classes.
Yeah, we make our
so he gets good.
one more minute.
If we get him back to make it a Cal 2, I don't even know if that's a pretty Cal.
Everything except the plastic. They're probably right.
Yeah, I took senior year. I didn't have to take it. Like, I didn't have to pass it to graduate. So
So even though you take it
and I didn't try, but I should have. It's so hard now.
you still think it's going to be What do you think the elementary kids are going to
15 seconds.
You're going to put it there? Okay. Why do you put paper
Five,
up here
4,
even though it's not
3,
shiny and
2,
metallic?
1. Eyes on me. And go.
So we'll-
And when you do that, if you give an instruction like that, and you say eyes on me, don't move forward until you have eyes on you. So I've seen it a lot in the past. Students, we tell the students to do that, to say eyes on me, and they say eyes on me. Okay, so what we're going to do is go straight into it. Just take 2 seconds. Just say eyes on me. Okay, now we can move on. And it works. Trust me, it works. We've been doing it long enough. Okay, so I went ahead and added a little something to the side, which is I went ahead and labeled it on the screen, so that way everybody knows what we're talking about. Okay? Now we're calling this a foil ball for a specific reason, because some students might know it as aluminum, some students might not. You're better off just saying foil ball, and aluminum might give away a little bit later. So we're not going to do it like that. Okay, so an option that you could do here is to do what I did previously, which is to get some names and say, Emilio, what do you think? And then Mary, what do you think? We could do that. You're probably not going to want to do that unless you have extra time, right? But we're not going to do that now. You've made your predictions. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go fishing again, and we're going to test this bag. We're going to test our predictions, okay? And now it's going to get a little fun. So we're going to find out what we know and what we don't know regarding this. Now there's a new rule to this. So let me take a step back and explain this to you. This is my baggie. Whoever went fishing last time has to hold the bag this time. The new person is going to fish. So this is my partner. Now I want to show you something. There's a reason you're going to please pay very particular attention to this. When you go fishing, this is how it has to be done. Okay? So we're going to go fishing. We're going to stick this in, and then we're going to take it out once. Can't be digging in there. Just one time. You get to go in one time, and you take it out. That's it. Okay?
And notice how he didn't actually put it in all the way and allow that magnet to touch the items. because then you're gonna give away, right, what actually happened potentially. So just be careful about that too.
Same thing with the mystery bag, when you model how to fish, don't actually pull it out. You know, just model, then they can hear the click, and then put everything back in the bag before they can see what's in there.
So Angie, real quick, how many times can you put the magnet in there? One time, that's it, and then that's it. Don't go fishing again, you can only fish once. So Ms. Goldberg is gonna pass out the magnets. When you get your magnets, you can fish. Oh, Mr. Sears has it. So when you get your magnet, you can fish. And where do all the items belong?
On the tray.
On the tray. All right, on the tray. When you get your magnet, you can fish. That's it. Put it back. Put it down. That should only take 2 seconds. Everybody fish just once. Just once. Just once and put the stuff on the actual foam tray.
So one thing more question about.
You'll go fishing? You don't get a bag?
We didn't get a bag.
You get a bag?
Same bag.
Sorry, Mr. Sears is gonna grab it. Okay, all right, so then, what'd y'all get? What happened? What came out of the bag? A paper clip?
Yeah.
That's it? All that stuff and only the paper clip came out? Okay, so did anybody make, is anyone 100% correct on their predictions? Raise your hand. Nobody, wow, that's
I got a plastic
crazy.
cap.
That's crazy. Okay, so, let me take a side note. This is where it can get tricky. The reason you have students fish only once, I've seen this countless times. When you go fishing only once, they get the paper clip. It's the only item that is magnetic. There's silver stuff, and gray stuff, and shiny stuff, and hard stuff, but there's not, the only thing that's magnetic is this one. This is a red herring, in that it's supposed to trick kids. The other one was silver, this one's colored. So some students will say, well, it's colored, so it's not going to be magnetic. That's the trick to this lesson. But I see this all the time with the students. Sir, the aluminum foil, it's magnetic, and then they try to take it out. It's not. It ruins the lesson. This group accidentally took out the plastic cap. So what should we do next, class, to test this? Because they got a plastic cap. Theirs is different. And if no one else got a plastic cap, what should we do now?
Do one by one.
Test it again.
Should we test it again? Okay, so let's find out. What do y'all think? Do you think the plastic cap is magnetic? No. You guys probably took it out by accident. Okay? Great. Now, stuff like that can happen in your lesson. That's why we want you to fish just once and that's it. Because if they go in once and they come out, it should reliably be just the paper clip. If you give them time, they're going to dig out other stuff.
Before I pick up your magnets, which you'll want to do so they're not playing with them while you do the next part, I want you to take a look at the magnet that you currently have. Does anyone notice anything about it?
Heavier?
Does anyone notice anything strange about it or anything different compared to the magnet last time?
Wasn't our magnet a different color?
No, it's a different color. So I purposely gave you a different color this time. Why do you think I might have done that?
This one's not as strong.
Control it.
So it's still a magnet, it's the same size, the same weight, the same shape. What do you think elementary kids might wonder once they realize that the magnet that they get the second time now is a different color than the one they had before?
It doesn't work.
It's not actually a magnet word.
Yeah, they're gonna all say, my magnet's broken. That's why it didn't work, my magnet's broken.
Exactly. Some will be like, I think it's broken, because, and then you could be like, oh really, Gabriel? Like, is that the same magnet you had before? And then what are they going to say? No, because they know it can't be the same one they had before because it's a different color, right? So then what could you ask them, or what could you do as a teacher?
You'd say that all magnets work the same, no matter the color.
So instead of telling them that, how could you prove that to them or show them that? Okay, so you could get one of a different color, or you could swap with someone else, and be like, oh, you think it's broken? So let's try this one. What color did you have before? Red, and then you can get another red. Say it again.
Doesn't the other student have the other color?
Yeah, so you could just borrow someone. So if they're like, sir, it's broken, I think it's not working, must be broken, then you can always be like, oh, what color did you have before? Okay, well, let me get a red one, and you go borrow, like, you can swap. Because you don't want to, and you can swap it, so that way no one is without their magnet, right? Or you could collect them all, and then you can do that. So just know that comes up a lot, it's really funny. They're like, my magnet's broken, it's not strong enough. Must be because it's a different one, because the color is different. So I know it has to be that darn magnet, it's just not working. Right, that's what they're going to
What else? So they're going to say it's the magnet is broken. What else could you do to convince them that the magnet is not broken?
Get the other bag.
Okay, so you can get the original mystery bag and try it out and see if it works there. Right? What else could they do to see that their magnet's not broken?
I'm thinking that the actual machines that he already did in the beginning, it's already self-explained because everyone is getting a different magnet that they already had previously.
Right, that's it that they see that. They may not see that you distributed the magnets equally. But
Where did you grab the paper?
Did it grab the paper clip?
No,
So grab the paper clip.
Right, so that's the easy way, right? You could be like, well, was the magnet attracted to anything that you just had? And then we'll be like, oh, the paper clip. So then can it really be broken? No. But they still might say something like we've heard before, they're like, well, it's not broken, but I think it's just not as strong as the other one because the paper clip is lighter, so clearly, right, so they don't have this sense of like, they think that there's like levels that like the magnet can be weaker or stronger. And because the paper clip is lighter than the link, for example, they might think that's a factor. So just be prepared for all sorts of interesting observations from the kids. Some will think that.
Right. The big thing there is you can tell them, but will they believe you? Probably not. So how do you get them to believe you? What do they have to do?
They have to see it.
They have to see it for themselves. They have to try it for themselves. So that's the big thing. So you can tell them when the cows come home, no, it's the same magnet, it's the same strength. They're not going to believe you. You got to let them try it themselves before they'll actually believe it.
So what happened with JB's group actually was this. You guys see that? What are the two items stuck to the magnet? The paperclip and the soda tab. The paperclip is the paperclip is. Can anybody see that? You see the paperclip here, the blue one, and then the soda tab. Well, of course, it looks like it was attracted to it because it is the paperclip is, but the plastic isn't. So you could end up with situations like that where it looks like it's actually sticking to it or it's attracted to it, and it's not. It's just because it happens to be in the way. So be ready to problem solve that issue. All right. Okay, so what you've done now at this point, we're going to move on to the purple section of our document. Just go ahead and write down what was magnetic and what was not. What was magnetic and what was not magnetic from your baggie. I'll give you about 2 minutes to do that. Just list the items. Okay, so the students are finishing up on that, and at this point, your partner can start to pick up materials. So what I would tell you now is anything that's outside of the clear plastic bag, please put it back inside the clear plastic bag.
Notice that we purposely picked up the magnet before you were asked to do that, which is also really important again for what's going to happen. Some kids are going to want to double check and triple check and try the one over there and walk over to their friend and make sure that it's not really broken. So you have to pick up the magnet.
Okay, so everybody has made their list. What was the only thing that was magnetic again? Remind me? Paperclip. Paperclip. That is so weird. I mean, everything else should have been magnetic. It should have. And just so you know, what we're going to move on to right now, if you ever forget the term of what we have, I already have them listed there for you. bolt, soda tab, plastic cap, photo ball, washer, paper clip, and link. Okay? Now, what I'm gonna want you to do is I'm gonna want you to work in your group, but I'm gonna show you what I want for the very first one. So we're gonna do the first one together. You guys know the bolt in the clear bag? That bolt happens to be made out of stainless steel. Is it a metal? Is it a metal?
Yes.
Okay, so since that's a yes, I'm gonna go ahead and put a check here. My next question, was that bolt magnetic?
No.
No, so I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm only gonna check it if it's a yes. All right? So the bolt that was made out of stainless steel was a metal, but it didn't stick to anything that was not magnetic. In your group, I would like for you to answer the rest and put the checks only if it's a yes. Okay? So go ahead and talk with your partners and discuss that. Look at your results.
Because they don't have the items on their desk anymore, you may want to leave them up on the projector so they can look back and refer back to them.
Yeah, so this is a great suggestion. So notice what Ms. Goldberg is about to do. She doesn't even need to say anything. You can just literally place the items where they go. And that way if somebody forgets or they're not sure, they'll just naturally look up and see. And if you see somebody really struggling, you can be like, oh, if you forget what they are, go ahead and look on the screen.
How about one more minute? Now granted, the kids might go through this pretty quickly. It might take them 30 seconds. It might take them 2 minutes. This is why you go out into the class. So you can see how long it's taking them, see what they're writing. Are they behaving? Are they focused on the task? So don't just stay behind the desk. Go out, and your partner can help you as well. Okay? So at this point, it looks like everybody's done. So I would count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here you have some options. We want to go over this section. You can go ahead and ask for volunteers. You can go ahead and ask specific students using your name tag. So I might call on Emilio, I might call on Mark. But I'm going to go ahead and continue using my popsicle stick. So you have 3 options. Pick the one you're going to want to do. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead, now we can call on Emilio. Where's Emilio?
Okay.
Emilio. The soda tap happens to be made out of aluminum. Is it a metal?
Yes.
Okay. Was it magnetic?
No.
No? Okay, so do I check it?
No.
No, I just leave it alone. Okay, thank you, Emilio. Next is Kimberly. Where's Kimberly? Kimberly. The plastic cap, which was this one, that was made out of plastic. Is that a metal? No? Should I check it? Okay. Was it magnetic? Should I check it? Okay, thank you. Next is Kimberly. Lancel? What is it? Lid cell. Okay, lid cell, sorry. Lid cell. The foil ball, which is this one right here, that's made out of aluminum. Is that a metal? Okay. Was it magnetic? No? So should I check it? I'm going through this very slowly and redundantly. There's a point to this. Angela A. Angela A.
Okay.
Angela, okay. We're going to talk about this one, the washer. That's made of zinc. Is that a metal?
Yes.
Okay. Was it magnetic? No? So should I check it? Okay.
So Angela, how could you tell it was a metal by looking at it? Okay, so it's shiny and silver. Okay.
Next is Ariana Lopez. Ariana, we're talking about the paper clip. Look at this one right here. I got a yellow one. What color was in yours? Do you remember?
Green.
Green? Okay. So the paper clip is made out of steel. Is that a metal? Yeah. Was it magnetic? Oh, that's weird. That's the first one we get for that one. Okay. And then Gabriel. Who's Gabriel? Gabriel. The last one is this one, the link. That's made out of zinc. Is that a metal?
Yes.
Was it magnetic? No. What do you guys think about your conclusions? I want you to talk about it with your partners for 1 minute. What do you notice about these conclusions? So I want to hear a discussion amongst yourselves.
Okay, not all silver things are magnetic. Not all shiny things are magnetic. Are all metals magnetic? Which metals seem to be magnetic based off of what they're made of? Steel, right? Right, is aluminum magnetic? Is zinc magnetic? Is stainless steel magnetic? No, it's only if it's. Okay, and how do you know that? Because it makes a difference. So, based on this bag versus the previous bag, what do you think all those things are made out of? How could we check that?
Good, so basically,
Going over with Magnet
and I want you to come up with one more conclusion of another sentence. It's also true.
Not all metals are
But it's gonna be that same.
Not all metals are magnetic.
So the name is true. No,
That conclusion, good job, but I do
What if that stays steel? Is it magnetic?
Okay, good. So based on your observations, that definitely makes sense. Now I want you to come up with and think of another sentence, another conclusion. That's also true, but that's just different from that. So that one's true, you can write that down. Come up with a different one.
Okay,
Also
class. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I need eyes on me. Thank you. Something you ever do, if you have one kid is still talking, you can be like, I need eyes on me. She was still talking. It's okay. But you can just stand over here, eyes on me. Okay, thank you. Or you can say, I'm waiting on, I'm pretty sure Ms. Goldberg has done this already.
We're gonna do it a little later.
You could say, just to refresh, just to say it again, you could say, I really like that this group is paying attention to me at this moment. I'll say, wow, pay attention to this. Figure out what works.
They're like puppies, they want positive praise.
You could also say, we're still waiting for one more group, or we're still waiting for one more student, which is way better than like, we're still waiting for you, Juan.
Whatever works for you guys, okay? Whatever works for you. Okay, but you'll figure that out when you go to your observation. Okay, so now we're at our conclusion. And what I would tell the students or what I would tell them to do is I want you to give me 2 conclusions. You want to do 2 because hopefully one of them is right? And you let them write it out. And when they're writing it out, you want to go out and see who answers the answer you want. I heard it already plenty of times. What's the answer do you think we're looking for? Not all metals are magnetic. Do you think students are going to come up with that on their own? Elementary students.
Variations, but they'll be specific.
So what's a statement you think elementary students would come up with that basically said the same thing? And some of you said that because even though you had said that, I walked around and said, come up with another statement that's true. So how might an elementary kid first say that before you get to that point?
Steel with this magnetic. More specific.
Okay, that might be more specific. Instead of saying not all metals are magnetic, did somebody say something different instead of the word metals?
Maybe not all silver things, maybe not all shiny things
Right.
are magnetic.
They could also get hard things. Things that are hard are metal, but guess what? This is pretty hard. Was this magnetic? No. So you have something that's hard. Things that are shiny are metal. Well, this was
Magnetic.
not shiny. This was things that are shiny are magnetic. Yeah, if you look at it at an angle, but it's colored. So this lesson was designed so that there's always a counter argument to support your argument, which is that not all metals are magnetic. We did this last semester, and I can only speak for myself, but out of an entire class, maybe one student will figure that out and give you that statement. Not all metals are magnetic. So I'm going to tell you what you need to do when you get that. So if everyone is going to give me answers, and Brianna's the only one that wrote that down, I really want the class to hear that. So what I would do is I would ask for a student A. So I might ask Ms. Goldberg, what did you write? She might say, oh, things that are hard are magnetic. Okay, cool. Then I might ask another student, Tim, Mr. Sears, what did you get? And he'll give me his response. And then I'll go to Brianna, because that's the answer I want everyone to hear. I don't go straight to him. Because then it doesn't give anyone else an opportunity to have counter arguments or to have a discussion. But you do want to find that one student that gives you the answer you want. Great, thank you. That's a great answer, Brianna. Not all metals are magnetic.
Now, here's the thing though. Go back to the previous page. Go back to the conclusion you put on the yellow section. Let's say Brianna is that kid, there's always that kid, who knows that before he goes in. And he puts that conclusion on his yellow section. Do you want to call on Brianna in the yellow section?
No.
Why not?
It ruins the lesson.
It ruins the lesson, it ruins the surprise, right? So
Yeah,
Never call up him on the yellow section.
the most important point there that you need to take away from that, we think, is that that's why you have to see who's writing what. Because you could be great and call on kids randomly and have popsicle sticks, but if you didn't already walk around and know that Briano had written that, what if he's the one you happen to call on in the yellow section? Or what if he's the one that's like, ooh, ooh, me, and you're just like, oh dear, let me just call on him, right? And then you didn't notice that he was the one that wrote that. So you have to be really careful about who you call on, even if it's random. And that's why I also like that Mr. Elizondo said, you could totally pick someone else's popsicle stick, their name on the popsicle stick. You're like Carlos, and it's not Carlos at all, right? But they don't need to.
You just show them it's a popsicle